What's up YouTube, Heretic here, welcome back. Today we are looking at another deck profile for a Worlds format deck. You guys have seen Gardevoir Gallade, now we are looking at Darkrai-EX and GX combined, so Turbo Dark basically just revamped. So for Darkrai-EX, this is still our main attacker obviously. Dark Pulse for 2 colorless, 20 damage plus 20 more damage for every darkness energy you have on your side of the board. And then mostly irrelevant Dark Head, second attack, 1 dark, 2 colorless, 80. If they're affected by a status con, 80 more. We have nothing that inflicts status cons in the deck, so that's pretty irrelevant most of the time. So we're just using Dark Pulse and trying to get it off to huge numbers, which is pretty easy to do with this list. So for Darkrai-EX, it's our featured attacker. And then we'll get to our new support attacker, or not attacker, sorry, our new support Pokemon, that is Darkrai-GX. Darkrai-GX does not attack, plain and simple. We use it for its ability, which allows us to, once per turn if it is in our discard pile, place it onto our bench, and then also accelerate a darkness energy from the discard pile onto the Darkrai-GX when it is placed from the discard onto the bench. It does have 2 attacks. The first one for 2 dark and a colorless does 130, doesn't apply resistance. You could use it in a pinch, I guess. Probably not that great though. And then the GX attack, you're never going to use really. It's same cost, 2 dark and a colorless. It does no damage, but if your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by a status con, it instantly knocks them out. Pretty crazy, but again, in this format, we don't really have anything in this deck that does status cons, so unless they inflict one upon themselves, there's no point to this. In Expanded, you could Hypnotoxic Laser, so that's something to look forward to if you're playing Expanded format anytime soon with the new set. So 3 Darkrai-GX, just extra energy, acceleration, extra damage for Dark Pulse. Really the entire purpose the card serves. Next we have 2 Oblivion Wing Eviltalls. Like I said, for Oblivion Wing, 1 dark, 30 damage, accelerates a darkness from your discard pile onto one of your benched Pokemon. Not much else to say about that. 2 Tapu Lele GX to search out supporters. 2 Shaman EX to draw some extra cards. And 1 Marshadow GX, and this is primarily for the mirror match. Marshadow GX has a really cool ability that lets it copy the attacks of any of your basic Pokemon in your discard pile, which is every Pokemon in the deck, as long as it has the appropriate energy attached to it. So you just use it to copy Dark Pulse if you have a Darkrai in the discard pile. And in the mirror match, it obviously hits other Darkrai's for weakness. You can also use it to hit Drampa GX for weakness, which is pretty good. Or Zoroark in the early game, I guess. Just remember that it is a 150 HP 2-prize Pokemon, so it does not have a ton of HP. But still kind of a nifty little tech, so I like having the 1 copy in here. Supporters, we got 4 Sycamores, obviously, for draw support. We've got 3 Ns for shuffle draw. And then we've got a whole bunch of 1-ofs coming up here. We've got Pokemon Fan Club to search out basics early. We've got Sophocles. This is one of my favorites in this particular deck. New supporter card that lets you discard 2 cards from your hand and then draw 4. So you can discard away Darkrai-GX and a Dark Energy, or something like a Darkrai-EX if you're using Marshadow. Just anything you might not need at the time, and then just draw 4 cards without losing your whole hand. Really cool concept in combination with Darkrai-GX, I feel like. And we have 1 Acerola, which lets you pick up your active Pokemon and all cards attached to it, put them into your hand as long as your active Pokemon has any damage counters on it. We have 1 Lysander and 1 Guzma, which is Lysander and Switch combined. Lets you switch your active with one of your bench, as well as pull one of your opponent's bench Pokemon active. You get to pick both targets, which is really cool. It substitutes for Olympia and functions as the deck's 2nd Lysander, which is really nice. And then 1 Hex Maniac for ability-reliant decks like Vikavolt, Tapu Bulu, Metagross, Gardevoir, etc., etc. Next, we have 4 Skyfield. This is the new stadium of choice, at least for me, until rotation happens. So for Worlds format in this deck, because Skyfield essentially gives you all 3 slots to put your Darkrai-GXs down. It lets you use space to put Shaman, Tapu Lele, and Baby Eviltal down while still maintaining multiple Darkrai-EX on your board. And then, of course, if it gets bumped, you can just discard Shamans and Leles. So, really nice to be able to have that available. I mean, we do end up giving up Altar of the Moon for that, but I think that's okay right now. So, at least for the standard format build, so that's what we're working with. 4 Versus Seekers, obviously, just to retrieve supporters. 4 max elixirs, because you can't really play this deck without it. I just have to be careful when you go against Trashalanche, which is really like the one big deal. Because Darkrai has resistance and a ton of HP, you can usually be okay against Trashalanche as long as you don't go too item crazy early on. So it's just something to be aware of in that one matchup. 4 Ultra Balls, obviously, to search Pokemon out. 2 Escape Rope, just another method of switching. Pretty solid card. And then we have 2 Fighting Fury Belt and 1 Wish Baton. I was originally running 2 of these, but Fighting Fury Belt proved to be so necessary against a lot of decks that can hit 180 damage so easily. Metagross with a Choice Band. Tapu Bulu can hit 180 very easily. Just a lot of things, and even 210 is kind of a magic number right now for a lot of things. So Fighting Fury Belt putting Darkrai up to 220 is really good. Of course, Field Blower is a thing, so you have to be careful of that. But it just seems too good not to play it in this particular deck. And then we have 4, 8, 12 basic Darkness Energies just to round things out right here. So this is actually, I know the matchup with Gardevoir went pretty downhill for Darkrai after Game 1, but this has been testing pretty solid as far as this list does. I've tested it against some of the more meta decks. Gardevoir matchup is actually pretty solid despite all the max elixirs and stuff, because you just have to be careful how many you play. Other matchups have been pretty solid across the board. If you're really worried about something like Mega Ray, you could put in a Sudowoodo, I suppose. You could put in an Oricorio or a Karen to counter Vespiquen. But otherwise, it's been doing pretty well. So that is Darkrai-EX, Darkrai-GX, just new GX-infused Turbo Dark, I guess. Whatever you want to look at it as. And I'm Heretic. I will see you guys next time. Cheers!